that wonderful time. We're here. 7 months of just, getting through it. It's football season eve. Brought back an OG. First ever YWC person I've ever met in my life, besides his brother. Alex Lorenzo's back. We're going to get into a lot of stuff, guys. We're going to go through the entire week one slate. We're going to go through awards. We got all that fun stuff. But before I get started, how are you, Alex? How are you just excited as I am for NFL football?
I am giddy for football. It's about time. It's been a long time. It feels longer than last offseason because maybe the Giants have more expectations. Although we did kind of have a lot of expectations last year, but they went away immediately. So I don't know. I could be this time next week just hating football, but right now I'm very excited.
I mean, what's worse, you hating football by this time next week, or your brother who hates his fantasy team by 1:02 p.m. when he's down?
He hates his fantasy team before the draft.
That's
It's
why I named my
no
team what I
matter.
did.
No matter what he does, he will hate it. If the guy has 0 points with 1 minute off the clock and his team doesn't even have the ball, Matt will be pissed. There's no reasoning. He just wants to be angry for football. Probably eases his pain with the Giants.
Yes, and also, folks, a brand new addition back to the show is the live ticker with all the odds, over-unders. We're going to get into that later, winners, all that stuff too. Plus, we're going to do best case for each team and worst case for each team. So we're going to go game by game for that, and we're also going to get Alex's perspective on the Giants. But before we start that, we got some awards to talk about, and I'm going to start with you on this one, but NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh, starting with the most obscure. I like it. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I just Googled the odds and I was looking it over, and he had like the 5th best odds. He probably won't win. But Terrion Arnold from Detroit. I don't know. I just think Detroit's going to have a lot of hype. Maybe he has a good rookie year. Maybe it gets more exposure than a couple other players on bad teams. But I don't know. That's the hardest one to call. It wasn't a great rookie draft, a great defensive draft. Dallas Turner is the obvious pick, but I want it to be a little more wild with my defensive rookie of the year.
As I pull up the FanDuel app right now just so I can get the odds. But that's the thing with a lot of these awards too, and there's one in particular that I want to get into when odds mean shit for it. But like when you look at an award like this, Defensive Rookie of the Year, that's why I got it out of the way. Just a simple, hey, it is what it is. As Jesus Christ, where are the awards? Well, basically, it's just because you're right. 15th pick, Latu, and then from there was a run on defenders, Dallas Turner, Terrion Arnold. I do like just because Detroit had a terrible secondary last year, and if Detroit can have a halfway decent secondary this year, and he's the main reason why, that's just kind of putting his stamp on it. So you know what? I'm going to go with it with you because when you look at a guy like Dallas Turner, he basically just has to do what he's been instructed to do. Go out there, wreck the play, be a solid defender with Danielle Hunter gone, and you do that. Meanwhile, Terrion Arnold, you can help turn around a secondary and be that missing link to what truly could be the difference between playing in New Orleans in February or not playing in New Orleans in February.
Yeah, well said.
I think I know where you're going with this one. NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think I need to sugarcoat anything for you.
I mean, will they give it to Malik Neighbors? Probably not.
That's not where I thought you were going.
Okay, I'm going to pick. It's not going to. Okay. I do think Jaden Daniels will be better than Caleb Williams as if you just watch them and just evaluate them. I think it's not going to be that different, but Caleb has so much better surroundings and team, and I really like the Bears this year, as we'll find out. I'm picking Caleb Williams. I just don't think if he has anything close to what he's supposed to have, people will go nuts for him.
So, there I go. I've monthly leaders, player matchups. Okay, I think I found it. So basically with Caleb Williams, it's simple. You do what you got to do, and you've met your expectations. Great. He's over 4,000.
Yeah. Second best wide receiver. If he does, he's one of the best prospects of all time and has 2 of the best wide receivers in football. It's just not fair.
The big thing with it too is just the fact that they gave him all the tools that they never gave Justin. So it's and they're also asking him to, hey, be the player that, the Bears haven't had in 70 years. They haven't had a franchise quarterback since Sid Luckman, and the closest they've gone to a 4,000-yard receiver. I blank on his name, but you and I were both toddlers. I think we were 3 and 4 years old, respectively. I think it was 97 or 98. So It's been a while, and we'll see with the Bears. Jaden Daniels, I like just because, look, The Cliff Kingsbury hire shouldn't be something ignored because, Cliff worked with Caleb at USC. And here's the other thing. Caleb had to work with a god-awful defense last year at USC. Maybe he was in the UFC. We don't know that. But with Jaden, he also has Terry McLaurin, who I feel like is kind of in that Mike Evans territory where you don't realize how consistent he is until you watch him play, where it's just, they call him Scary Terry for a reason.
Yeah, he's really good.
The neighbor
he has great receivers, Daniels. I think it'll be a lot closer. Like, I think Caleb will play less than people expect. I think his expectations are insane. I think he'll play a little less. I think Daniels will play because a lot of people think Daniels won't be good at all. So I think Daniels will be a lot better than people think, than those people think, a little better than people who think he'll be good will be. And I think Caleb will be a little better, and I think it'll be a little even. Obviously, I think Caleb will be better with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Komet and one other guy. I forget who they have. But, Swift, the running back's pretty good. So I do think at the end it'll look better for Caleb.
Exactly.
But I think Jaden's not going to be that bad.
That's the thing. That's the exact thing with this, where if Caleb, you know what, hey, you do what you're supposed to do, you've met expectation. Meanwhile, Malik Neighbors, if he can go out there and play not like what Jamar Chase did in his rookie season, but what, he can go out there and show, hey, he's the wide receiver one everyone thought he was. He's right up there too. He can help I don't want to say resurrect Daniel's career, but help kind of, pull him up from the realm of where he was before.
Yeah, that's why I think he might come in second, because if the offense looks good for the Giants and he's wide receiver one as he should be, and he's making all these catches and he has over 1,000 yards as he should, with no matter who his quarterback is in the NFL, he should have 1,000 yards no matter what. I don't care how many snaps he's played yet. I think he might end up second if I don't know if it's the voting is like ranking released like the MVP in baseball or something, but I think he would come in second and Daniels will come in third, and then Woods or Harrison will come in fourth.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison's another one. We'll get into Arizona in a bit, but that's the big thing too with Neighbors. I think if he sniffs, even if he gets to 750, 850, if he's sniffing 1,000 yards, his name's definitely going to be in the conversation.
If he has 750 yards, I'm shooting my fucking brains out. His over/under is 885. I think he should crush that. He's gotta hit 1,000.
Yeah, I only said 750 just because
that's a great number for most rookies. That's a fantastic number, but Malik Neighbors needs to be better than that right away. No excuse.
Yeah. Him and Harrison both have to be at least, I think, 900, sniffing 1,000 yards.
I don't think I think people are overhyping Harrison. I think he'll be great, but I don't know. Maybe it's just bias. Maybe I watch Malik Neighbors a lot, and I watched Ohio State was on a decent amount. I saw enough Ohio State. Obviously, the quarterback play at Ohio State was a lot worse.
Yeah,
so it's harder. I haven't seen a single thing. I've seen one thing posted about Marvin Harrison, and obviously, I see everything about Malik Neighbors. I'm a Giants fan, I'm an LSU fan. I follow those accounts, but I follow Dove Kleeman. Maybe one post about Marvin Harrison for how much hype he's had for the first wide receiver in the draft. I feel like he's not no hype is come his way after the draft. Oh, it was all before. I don't get it.
I think it was more he was just the most NFL ready prospect coming out of the draft. That's what I think.
Is he not impressing in camp? Is he not making any cool catches? He has Kyler. It's not like he has nobody.
No, but he has a quarterback where there is a lot of question marks surrounding Kyler because, your guy, he's coming back from the ACL. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
His first full season played in 2 years. They're coming out of their disarray of dysfunction, but Sunday's a great chance for Marvin to kind of show that, but then also too, it's a great chance for Malik to show that. So these wide receivers are going to have a chance to truly shine and see what they can do.
Yep.
Moving on to NFL Offensive Player of the Year. I have a crazy take for this one because it is a very big long shot, and I said this on the AFC show.
Yeah.
Breece Hall at plus 1,600 is something to not be ignored. And I know Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson could be the one to win this, but think about this. I know Garrett Wilson's good. I know the Giants have other weapons. But when you have a 40-plus-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury with a true bell cow running back, just hand it off and let Breece do the work. You definitely have it. And also, if the Jets' offensive line can hold up and stay healthy, that's the other key to this as well. It's just something about the pick I like. Breece Hall, his stock is rising, but this year, and we'll talk about this with the Jets later, but they're truly having a year where the Jets, you got to start paying these guys. So this is that last year where they can show, hey, Sauce, Wilson, and Hall, this is why we deserve the money, and especially a guy like Breece Hall in a running back market where you know what, you only get a few chances of money. What a better chance to do it, especially when you're an underdog like this.
Yeah, that's solid points. But I just like this one is one I have to go with the favorite, I believe.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, right? Favorited?
Breece is not my pick. I'm just saying Breece
Oh,
is
okay.
a good long. It's a good long shot that I
I
like.
love Breeze. I love him. I picked him in 2 leagues in fantasy. Well, technically one was auto pick, but I had him ranked first because him. So I went. And my first draft was in my house. We did it with a live draft, and McCaffrey was still like kind of hurt. CeeDee Lamb hadn't signed. Jamar hadn't signed. But I was like, I was thinking, I was like, if I had like 2 or 3, I was like, I might just pick Brees Hall or St. Brown. Like, I feel like they're locks to be like incredible. So I love that pick. If I had to pick anybody, I would have to pick Tyreek Hill. I just think he's going to catch 100 million passes for a trillion yards and score a bunch of touchdowns.
It's kind of that like double wavelength though, where it's like, does the quarterback make the receiver look good, or does the receiver make the quarterback look good? And in Miami's case, it's the receiver making the quarterback look good. So that's where Tyreek would come in and win it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I do think Tua gets too much shit. I think they have a lot of team problems. I think they build a lot on winning in hot weather. And when it gets cold or they go on the road, they can't do that. They can't put their opponents in 105-degree weather on the bench in the sun. But I do think that like McDaniels has flaws and like will figure them out and adjust. And I think Tua's good enough to like with those weapons to win playoff games.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyreek. I think Tua will never look better than Tyreek. So yeah, it'll always like look better for him for the offensive player of the year, like you were saying.
Is Aaron Rodgers a lock for comeback player of the year?
Nah, it's Daniel Jones. Aaron Rodgers is going to get hurt again. Aaron Rodgers is going to have the Jets are going to have so many expectations. If they don't win the division, it'll look like a bad season. Daniel Jones just has to fucking look competent, and he should win it. But if they win the division, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to win it.
Yeah, if they win the division and convincingly. I do like the Joe Burrow pick. It is plus 250 on FanDuel right now. So,
that's a great one. I actually should pick him, but I didn't want to pick. Well, I'll save it.
I just feel like we'll get into this with Cincinnati. Obviously, we know who they're playing this weekend. But I feel like with Cincinnati, they're kind of being slept on by the national media a lot, where it's like, oh, hey, remember, they're obviously, look, everyone's talking about Kansas City, but Cincinnati's that team where it's like they were almost in 2 straight Super Bowls not even 2 years ago. So
you don't have to convince me about the Bengals. I'm 100% there with you.
Oh, I know. And then moving quickly, Depoy. I'm going to keep mine simple. Micah Parsons is the favorite, but TJ Watt at the same odds as Max Crosby, and that's not a slight on Max Crosby, but I feel like he should have won it last year. He just goes out there, messes around, gets 19, 20, 21, 22 sacks, and is the game wrecker that Pittsburgh needs. It's pretty much locked up that it's his.
Fuck, I was also going to pick TJ Watt. If he's healthy, he's the best player in football on that side of the ball right now. Simple as that. It's just whether he stays healthy. I think Parsons. So the cornerbacks in Dallas are hurt, so it could just fuck up their whole defense, and he could get less stats because they can get the ball out quicker. But I do think he'll be second. Myles Garrett, maybe whoever's not second, third there. But if TJ Watt is healthy, I think he's 100% going to get it.
And then a sleeper option I like for this is at plus 1,400 is Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, Lions hype train, maybe. It's pretty good.
I just think of the fact that he keeps improving and, you know, he's kind of that focal point. If he could truly be, and this is a word I know a lot of football people like to use, if he could be that F the player up kind of guy where he just comes in and causes chaos and wreaks havoc, that's where, you know what, he can get his name in the hat. I don't know if he'll win it, but when I look at a long shot odds, it's kind of worth the sniff.
It's hard to see anybody breaking out and being better than TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, or Myles Garrett. Exactly. But all three could get hurt, so you never know.
This is the one award where you don't bet the favorite. It's like last year, everyone was saying, you know, Dan Campbell's the lock to win Coach of the Year. And I'm just like, he meets expectation. Coach of the Years we've seen the last 2 years are the guys who take nothing, make it into something. 2 years ago, your guy Brian Daboll is the exact definition of that. Kevin Stefanski last year truly made injury after injury after injury after quarterback, brought Joe Flacco in, Sure, they got killed in the playoffs, but they made the playoffs.
Yep, 100% agree. And I think this is the biggest lock of any award in any year in any sport. All right, not true. There's some pretty locks like Defensive Player of the Year in basketball or like maybe Coach of the Year in basketball. But I think this is the lock of locks, and it's plus 4,000. Brian Daboll is going to win it again. The Giants won 6 games being absolutely abysmal with no offensive line, no wide receiver one, and no quarterback. They have a chance to win 9-10 games and make the playoffs after once again coming from the playoffs to having no expectations. So he's back where he was in year one. He's actually now calling plays officially. So it'll make him look better if the offense is moving with Malik Neighbors. I just think it's like if the Giants are in the playoffs again, he has to win it. They were so bad last year. They still they were 3 plays away from winning 9 games last year. Like, if you won 9 games with that roster and snuck into the playoffs last year, people would be like, "What? Like, this guy's amazing."
Yeah, because like when it comes to my mind, I think of the game you guys played against the Bills on Sunday Night Football, and then the Eagles on Christmas Day.
Yep, the Jets game, the Pats game, we almost blew.
The Pats game was pretty even, and then we missed a field goal, but we got Drake May out of it, so I can't complain.
Yeah, no, you missed the field goal. You should have won it.
No, that wasn't the. Was it the win or was it the Sunday overtime? I think it was the Sunday.
Oh, I can't remember.
I think it was overtime.
The Giants won that game though, right?
They did.
They blew the Jets game, but they beat the Patriots.
That's what it was. I like the Men in Black memory wipe the month of November from my head. So I have 2 candidates I like. One's a long shot betting odd, and that's Sean McDermott at plus 5,000. I'm only saying that because look, it's the same thing with Buffalo where they lost a lot of talent.
Yeah,
they still got Josh Allen, and if they go and win the division,
I don't think it'll happen, but if they win the division, unless the Giants win the division or something crazy like that. Yeah, I can't see it. Maybe the Falcons coach. I don't even know who it is. I forget his name.
Raheem Morris.
Okay. They should win the division for the first time, or look, that division should have a good team in it for the first time, at least compared to the rest of them. But I don't know. Who's your other sleeper?
So I actually have 2. One's Jonathan Gannon of the Arizona Cardinals at plus 1,800, and Mike McDonald at plus 1,200.
Yeah, all right, I can see it.
Which, fun fact about the Arizona Cardinals, but the defensive coordinator of the Arizona, this is a wrestling reference actually. The defensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals, his brother is Riddick Moss. It's a fun little nugget I like to use.
Yeah, he posts about that a lot. I see that.
And then NFL MVP, the one award everyone likes to talk about, the one award where favorites include Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, and Jordan Love. That's the first little drop down from here.
I think CJ Stroud's gonna dip a little bit. He's still gonna be great, but I don't think he'll have better numbers than he had last year.
My thing with them is just how do you respond now that everyone knows who you are and that the fact that you're going to be playing a lot under the sun, where it's
entire year of film on you.
And also the fact too that, every little mistake you make in a game is going to be magnified and you have to play first place. You're playing a first place schedule. You're not playing a fourth place schedule anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he'll what did he have? 4,100, 4,200, 4,300 yards last year. Maybe we'll get 39, 40 this year.
Yeah. And it was 24 touchdowns.
Enough to keep you in fantasy, to draft him like I did, but.
There's a couple of sleepers here I look up that I like, and both play in the wonderful city of Los Angeles. Justin Herbert and Matthew Stafford at plus 3,000. I know it's kind of crazy long shots, but
Matthew Stafford is fine. Justin Herbert, I think they're going to be terrible. They have absolutely. Who's he throwing to?
That's the thing. It's kind of like where my pick, who I really like, it's the same question because my pick to win, honestly, is Josh Allen. I just think that what
he's.
I know he's the big difference.
Herbert has a big arm. He can do a lot, but he hasn't, and Josh Allen has, I guess, with at least I don't know. Before Stephon Diggs, he didn't have that much, so I can see that way more.
No, but the reasoning for the 2 I look at it because with Justin Herbert, if for some reason if he gets to the playoffs and he has this amazing season, throws for over 5,000 yards, and Ladd McConkey is this true receiver, what we saw at Georgia, plus if Quentin Johnson actually can remember to catch a football and make that second year leap.
Yeah,
I just saw it. I liked it. The Matthew Stafford one too, just because, and also I'll say this as well with the Rams. I think Cooper Cup's gonna have a better year than Puka just because Puka had a historically good year. Everyone's buying it on Puka. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Cooper Cup is what 3 years removed from a Triple Crown, so it's not like it's just some
Yeah,
slouch.
but what, 1 year removed from a torn ACL?
That too. But with Josh Allen, though, it's just the fact that, okay, he doesn't have a weapon, but if he can go out and do the same thing he was doing with a misfit cast of receivers, win the division, and do
Yeah.
the same thing, he's good for that number. So but it's plus 800, and then Mahomes at plus 450. The weird thing too is Lamar Jackson, last year's winner, plus 1600.
Yeah, it can happen. You get hot and those odds shrink immediately.
That they do. The funniest thing too with it, when I look at the odds, I love how I go to Coach of the Year, and the Coach of the Year with the lowest total is Andy Reid at plus 6,000. I just saw that and I laughed right away
Yeah,
because
what would he have? They'd have to be undefeated and like win 40-0, where he's out coaching everyone.
it basically would have to be like
They'd have
what?
to be 16-0 with Patrick Mahomes playing bad or hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It would have to be. I don't even know who their backup is. I know they brought in Bailey Zappi for the practice squad, but I have no idea who the. Oh,
Yeah,
Carson Wentz. It's Carson Wentz backing up. So it would have to be 60-0 with like Carson Wentz and like Travis Kelce's like 1,000-yard receiver.
fucking Noah Gray,
Yeah.
or whoever the tight end is, the backup.
Yeah. Hollywood Brown and Speedy Rasheed Rice, both on and off the field. But
Wait, so who's your MVP pick?
Josh Allen.
Okay, I'm going Joe Burrow. I'm fully in on the Bengals. You'll see more and more as we go over these picks.
Too. But tomorrow,
Which I guess if he's my MVP, he'd also be my comeback player of the year. But just to pick somebody different, I picked Daniel.
that's fair. No, because but also that's the thing. He's coming off the torn ACL, so if he can come and be what he was in 2022, I completely get your logic there.
I believe in Joe Burrow.
That's got the clap sync there. But anyway, guys, finally get to do this. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. Predicting football games.
Games or standings first?
Oh,
You want to do season standings and playoffs?
Let's do that towards the end because I got to think about it as we go along.
Oh, okay. I wrote it down. So if you're ready, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, so you know what? We'll do let's do standings first. AFC North. I'm going to ring mine off.
Mm-hmm.
I have Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, and for the first time since Matt was 2 years old, the Pittsburgh Steelers in last place. Look it up. The last time they were the last place team in their division, 1988.
Wow, yeah, they haven't been lower than 500 in a while either, I think.
No, but they're in that position now where if they do the same thing this year, 10-7, losing the wild card round, you're picking in the 20th, you're picking in the 20s.
Yeah.
What do? You basically they're in purgatory right now.
Yeah, they need to suck.
Yeah. They have to basically them, and there's another team in the NFL who I'm kind of vocal about. They need to do one or the other. They either have to go all in with Pittsburgh and everything else, or you know what, you hit the reset button and you suck for a few years and then you build yourselves back up.
Yeah. I have the same North as you.
Yeah. Basically my whole thing with Cincinnati is, like I said, I think they're being too slept on. Baltimore is good, but the one thing too is they have a new defensive coordinator. We'll see how Derrick Henry is. I hate to say this because we're all the same age. You, Derrick Henry, and I are all 30, and it's he's 30, he's old. And I'm like, yo, Jace, thanks for ruining my self-confidence, guys.
I feel like the running game's going to be nasty with him and Lamar, but yeah, I do think the Bengals win the division. Ravens second, Browns third, Steelers fourth.
AFC South, I am going Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Tennessee.
I have Colts and Jags switch, so Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans.
My whole thing with the Jag, I want to believe in the Colts. It's just they don't do too much to like where it's like okay over the course of time because we don't know what we're getting with Anthony Richardson. But with Jacksonville though,
Jacksonville's healthy, but Pittman is one of the best wide receivers in football, I believe, and I think they got a solid team. I think the Jags will choke or lose games they shouldn't.
Because I think Jacksonville, there's a lot of pressure there because Trevor Lawrence signed his ticket. Doug Peterson's under a lot of fire, or Trevor Lawrence gets hurt and their QB2 kind of lights it up, and I cry internally for the rest of the season.
Well, it's Mac Jones.
Yes, Mac Jones got QB2.
Surprised he made quarterback 2. Congrats, Mac.
Yes. And then the AFC East, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. And before you say your thing, my explanation is Jets, I need to see it from you before I believe. I know I've talked on here, Danny, about it in the AFC show, but basically my logic is Buffalo, they've won it 4 years in a row, until proven otherwise. You keep the king on top. Miami does the same thing every year where they're going to lose a couple games down the stretch and just, crap down their legs. I need to see it from New York. And you know what? We're in a rebuild. Simple as that.
All right. I mean, I have something different. I do not have the Jets in first. I am going swimming with the Dolphins. I believe they win the division. I believe the Jets will come in second, the Bills will come in third, and the Pats will come in last.
I don't take any solace in it. Every rodeo needs a clown, and it's time for us to be the rodeo clowns of the AFC East. AFC West, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Denver, Vegas. I'm going to come out and say this right now, and I've said this for a while. I don't buy Vegas. I cannot buy Vegas.
We have very different standings. I have the Raiders winning the division. No, I'm
really?
kidding.
Okay.
No. I have the Chiefs, the Raiders in second, Chargers, who I think will be abysmal, and Broncos, who will somehow be worse than abysmal.
Broncos, my whole thing, I'm conflicted with them. I feel like the Broncos are going to be like 7-10, 8-9
Who's their
because
coach? Sean Payton, right? Yeah. Is he even a good coach anymore?
I just think that he has a quarterback that he can kind of just like stand there and be like, "You're going to do as I say, and you're going to shut up." Kind of like what him and Drew were.
He's not a good quarterback. Drew was a great quarterback.
No, but that's the thing, though. He can kind of mold him into his own image to make him a good quarterback. That's where I think of it.
I would have to see the system. I don't know. Yeah. Pat Surtain just got a shit ton of money, most ever for a D-back.
I think he got he could have gotten a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I think the Chargers will be bad, but like coaching will win them a few extra games.
They're a year away from making noise, in my opinion.
The Raiders, I believe in the Raiders with Antonio Pierce. I think he's a great coach. He could win Coach of the Year too if they make the playoffs. I don't think they do. So that's the entire AFC. So I had the Bengals in first, Chiefs in second, Dolphins in third, Texans in fourth, Ravens in fifth, Jets in sixth, Bills in seventh.
Okay, so I'm going to have to think of mine. I have Cincinnati in 1, Kansas City 2. I have Houston in the 3. I have Buffalo in the 4. Miami in the 5, making that for a fun wild card game. I'm going to put Baltimore in my 6. And I'm going to put, in a surprise turn of events, I'm going to put Cleveland in my 7. I just think it's still a very good team. It's just if the quarterbacking gets it right, they can go a long way.
They're my first team out. I have Bills just beating them, maybe same record, but tiebreaker or something.
The fun thing with Cleveland too is the fact that there's no like coach on the hot seat topic. Deshaun can't go into the office and be like, I can't work with Kevin because guess what? Kevin Stefanski's won 2 Coach of the Years in 5 years, and that would just show dysfunction.
They need to get rid of Deshaun, if anything.
I mean, you got 2 years left to still pay him a lot of money. NFC North, I'm going to keep mine very simple because I think you're probably the same. Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota.
No, I actually do think the Bears come in second. Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. I think it'll be very close. I think the Lions will win by like 3 games, but the Bears and Packers will be pretty close, and the Vikings will be pretty bad.
So this is the one where I have records. I have the Lions at 12-5. I have the Pack at 10-7. I have the Bears at 9-8, but Bears are like my first team out. And then I have the Vikings at 6-11.
Yeah, I probably have around the same. Just switch the Packers and Bears. Maybe 9 wins and 8 wins for the Packers. Vikings with like 4. I don't know. We'll see week 1 how they look.
Yeah, and then for me, NFC South, I have Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina.
Say it again.
Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina.
Oh, all right, interesting.
I'm
riding with the Falcons. I think they're great.
I think the Falcons are good. I think the Falcons are good too. It's just I think Tampa Bay, like what they did last year, shouldn't be overly ignored. I know Dave Canales is obviously in Carolina now, but they still have a really solid roster on paper. I think it's going to be like 10-7 wins the division, 9-8. Saints like 7-10, and then I think 5-12 for the Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers might win 3 games still. I don't know. I have the Saints in second though, and the Bucks in third. But I could easily see the Bucks in second.
Saints are the one team that I'm in like in the Pittsburgh territory where it's like either they got to burn it to the ground because the Saints too, a lot of their veterans are getting old. That's the thing. Their defense is aging. Like Cameron Jordan, DeMario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. there's a lot of guys on the wrong side of 30, so it is what it is there. And then
Yeah,
with the NFC West, I have obviously San Francisco, Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals.
exact same.
Yeah,
Pretty obvious.
pretty obvious too, just because I'm going to say this as well. Bears and Seahawks are going to be in that category where week 8, like they'll all be in that realm of like, in the hunt, it comes down to week 17, week 18. Cardinals, I think, are going to be not good, but they're going to be that team to where next year everyone's kind of going, look at the Cardinals, kind of like what people are doing with the Bears this year, where it's, hey, add a
Maybe.
couple pieces here and there. They had a pretty good draft this year. Let your rookies develop to where next year's like that. I think the Rams are still going to be a very good team. They have a very good offensive line. I think Blake Corum he's another sneaky offensive rookie of the year candidate if he can come in there and truly be a running back one with Kyron Williams fielding punts. And San Francisco, it's a now and every year. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think Kyron's gonna ever get benched, but I think Corum. I picked him in a couple leagues. I think he's gonna play a decent amount, but yeah, I think they're gonna be a good 1-2 tandem. I love the Rams as a pick, as a team, as an offense. So yeah,
They're so well coached.
yeah, 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, Cards should be that simple.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go 49ers in my 1.
Wait, what about the East?
Oh, NFC East. My apologies. I'm going to go Eagles in the 1, Dallas, New York, Washington.
Yeah, I feel like the Cowboys and the Eagles could both be so good, but could both just like collapse like the Eagles did last year.
I have a bit of a spicy take with the Eagles.
But I'm going Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Commanders.
My spicy Eagles take is if they get off to a really poor start, I think there's a chance Nick Sirianni's fired. I don't know if they would do it. I just think that if they start like one, think about it, if they start like 1-4, then we'll get into their game. But you're seeing,
I don't think they will, but yeah,
I don't think they will either. But it's just hey, if that happens, his seat's going to get hot very quickly.
Yeah, good. Let's do it. Let's get it out of there. Get him out of there.
So I'm going to go San Francisco in my 1. Excuse me.
Same.
Detroit in the 2.
Same.
Philly in the 3.
Cowboys, but yeah, same.
Bucks in the 4.
Falcons, yep.
Green Bay in my 5.
I have the Rams.
Rams in the 6. Actually, I'm gonna flip flop it. I'm gonna put Rams in the 5, and then Rams in the 5, Packers in the 6.
Yeah, I have Eagles in the 6.
I'm gonna put Seahawks in the 7.
And I have Bears in the 7th. I have
Rams. Bears are my first team out. Bears are my first team out.
Packers, Seahawks, Giants are the 3 out. And whatever. Packers first, Seahawks probably 2nd.
Yeah. I have Seahawks, Bears, Cowboys all in that category right there, for like finishing 6, 7, 8, 9. And then kind of like Saints are in that realm as well.
Mm-hmm.
Falcons too. There's that NFC playoff race, which will also include like the Giants. The only teams in football where I would say they're not making the playoffs for sure would be Minnesota, Arizona, Carolina, New England, and Vegas and Tennessee. Besides that, there's not a lot of teams where I look at and go, and probably I'd say Washington too, just because I feel like what Washington did was what New England did 3 years ago. Is just because they had money, they went out and spent it. There's no one like significant that they spent the money. Like obviously, like New England did spend the money on some significant people, but Washington, there's none of their free agent signings made you go, wow. Like Bobby Wagner almost retiring, Austin Eckler obviously is an RB2 now, and Jeremy Chin. Like there's no one on that team that made you go, wow. The first signing they did that made me go, wow, was locking up Sam Cosme today to a pretty nice extension out. I believe he went to Texas, but yeah, besides that, there wasn't anything really that they did that was like crazy to me.
Yeah. You want to run through quickly the playoff matchups then?
Okay. Yep. So obviously I have Cincinnati in the 1. So I got to remember what I did. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to go straight to my Super Bowl just because of what it is.
Okay.
My Super Bowl is Cincinnati versus San Francisco.
Wow. That's actually mine as well. But I had Chiefs
rematch from the 80s, by the way.
Yeah, I had Chiefs over Bills, Dolphins over Jets, Ravens over Texans. Then the next round in the AFC, Chiefs over Ravens, Bengals over Dolphins, and then the Bengals over the Chiefs in the championship game. And then on the NFC, I have Lions over Bears, Cowboys over Eagles, 2 division rival matchups. Rams over Falcons, 49ers over Rams, Lions over Cowboys, 49ers over Lions, Bengals over 49ers.
I have, for as much as I want to go 49ers to win, I think I would have to pick Bengals as my champion as well because for Bengals, it's like there's all this stuff on the line for them where it's like, look, T. Higgins is probably gone after next year, maybe to New England. Jamar Chase is asking for the contract. It's looking like he's going to play. I know he
Yeah.
practiced today, but we don't know what it is. And then the rest of their team, that defense is very, very, like the whole team, the defense is very underrated. Lou Anarumo is very good. And then with San Francisco, this is the last good year San Francisco has to win because guess who's getting a lot of money next year, even though people think they might be franchised? Brock Purdy's not playing under the franchise tag, especially if he gets back to another Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. It'll be hilarious if the 49ers lose another Super Bowl.
It really would be because at that point, when do you say, does Kyle Shanahan get in that Andy Reid category where it's like, obviously Andy Reid's won 3 now, but like for the longest time, it was always Andy Reid. He can't do it. Can't win the big one. Which, you know what? That's a great
trade. He's also blowing every Super Bowl.
I honestly think that
some of them, I think.
what happened last year was more to do with just Kansas City's defense playing good football at the right time as opposed to blowing it. Meanwhile, 4 years ago in Miami, they straight blew it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Either way, you were up and you lost. I mean, you're playing the GOAT right now, but
that's it.
The
but
greatest of right now, the Gurn.
That's a good way. That's a good way to put it. Because the Gornt, who I assume number 15, Patrick Mahomes, him and his Kansas City Chiefs. I hope that their banner that they raised tomorrow, because their banner raising ceremonies are a little like.
Tomorrow.
Pardon me?
I can't believe it's tomorrow.
I know. Literally.
I'm not mentally prepared for football yet. I don't know how. I've been doing all offseason just waiting for it, but
I like for me, it's been a little bit easier because obviously, look, I have my football up here that I watch and cover now, so like that kind of like burdens it. But tomorrow night, it all gets started. Kansas City versus Baltimore in Kansas City. They raise another banner.
CFL offseason, is it right now during the NFL season? Or do you have to do both?
No, I do both. I do both. Yeah. CFL ends right before American Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then their offseason basically training camp for them starts up in around just after around Mother's Day. And then the regular season for them starts second week of June.
Do the games get a lot of fans? Like, do they not sell out, but like, do they get packed?
So it depends. Toronto, no. Toronto has a really hard time selling tickets, but everywhere else, especially if you go to like the middle of nowhere Canada, like Saskatchewan, they sell out constantly.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say they probably don't like. A lot of places don't like American football. Or don't watch it.
It's
Canada, that's what they have.
How do I say it?
Toronto and Montreal, I would assume, and Vancouver, I would assume, get everything American.
So
like sports.
They like Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Ottawa, Hamilton, Calgary, and Calgary sell out. Vancouver's been doing Vancouver and Montreal do a good job at selling out too. Toronto, it's just Toronto doesn't. Toronto only their biggest attendance this year is like just under 20K, which is bad to say because the rest of the league always gets over 20.
I mean, they have everything in Toronto, so like I can understand it.
It's also with Toronto too, though. I'll say this. The people who love it, love it. Toronto had a chance last year to, increase their attendance and all that stuff, but they ended up losing in the East Final and just getting demolished at home, because last year they sold out the game to go to the championship. They sold it out. It was the perfect opportunity to really bring in some new fans, and they blew it.
Yeah.
They blew it. But
it's no Toronto FC, I'll tell you that.
No, it's Toronto FC. They sell, but they're not as good. That's the thing. Toronto Argos are a better team.
I have no idea about the MLS. I'm just getting into the Premier League now.
Yeah. Yeah, Premier League I like to watch. It's always on so early.
That's what I like about it. It gives me something to do in the morning if I'm.
It's like that family.
Saturday.
It's like that Family Guy thing where it's like when they're at the Clam on a Saturday morning, it's all the cricket guys.
Yeah.
Which, like I said earlier, Kansas City versus Baltimore. The game's finally here. Before we get into the game, Alex and I are going to play a little game of best case scenario versus worst case scenario for each team. I'm going to start off with Kansas City because I think, look, it's simple. It's make history. It's be the first team in NFL history to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. It's for more than anyone else. It's for more than anything else. It's for Patrick and Andy to truly cement their legacies as just conversations for best of all time, greatest of all time, to truly go out and say, hey, we've done something that's never been done before. And it's a chance that it's such a rare feat in modern sports history.
Yeah. Ceiling is Super Bowl, MVPs, everything, all the awards, all the championships. Floor is second round exit, third round like championship game exit. I think they're good.
I'm gonna go a step further. I think their worst case would be, like kind of what's happened to Tom a couple times in this past, where he has a bad day in the wild card round or in the divisional round. You get a team that gets you, and you lose, and there's a lot of question marks there. Missing his first championship Sunday since he started at quarterback, so that's why I think his worst case scenario would be. But I still think they will probably make it to at least the divisional round. That's why I'm going to say divisional round over wild card.
Him beating the Bills in the first round, so I guess the Bills could beat them. You can see that.
And then Baltimore, I'm going to say same thing, Super Bowl, just because they're that team that's always in the conversation. They're always sniffing around.
Yeah, I still don't believe it. I'm going to go conference championship game ceiling. And
floor, I'm going to go wild card.
Missing the playoffs. I think they're like an injury or two away from disaster.
You know what? Actually, yeah, I said, I think they'll make the playoffs, but you never know. That's the thing. You never know. They'll be if Lamar goes down, they're going to be that team where it's.
Yeah, they got the Browns right behind them. It's a tough division. So I can see them missing it, but I would put it at like 1%.
The two Norths are definitely the toughest divisions in football, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Meanwhile, with this football game, though, this game, honestly, it's a tough one to pick just because I feel like with Kansas City, everyone's going to expect them to go in there and roll them. I feel like everyone's going to be expecting them to go in there.
They're like the Patriots now. They lose like every week, one or something, or like they play a little less than in the beginning of the year at some point, and people are like, "Oh my God, they're done. The dynasty's over." And it's like, bro, no one's going 16-0.
Yeah. Because remember, it was Kansas City who went into Gillette Stadium in 2017 and just embarrassed the Patriots at home.
Yeah, the Kareem Hunt fumble game. That didn't end up happening. It was such a big deal at the time. The poor kid fumbled on like his first game. But I don't know. I do think the Chiefs should win, but I also can easily see the Ravens looking so like much better to start the season.
I'm going Baltimore here.
Yeah,
I know it's
Baltimore, so I'm kind of leaning to that anyway.
I also have another bet for this game I really like. That's the under.
Anytime touchdown? Oh, the under?
Yeah, no, the under. If I were to go anytime touchdown, honestly, I would probably lean towards Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, him, Kelsey, and Henry, I think, are all going to score.
Yeah, I think. I want to pull up the odds for the touchdowns just because. No, we'll just miss logging in. Game. It feels so good to like go to like FanDuel and see
all three of them are like -110, +110.
So right now, by the way, the over/under is 47.5. Touchdown scores. Derrick Henry leads the way at -125. Isaiah Pacheco at +105. Travis Kelsey at +110. And then, here's another sneaky one. Mark Andrews, +180.
Not bad.
Yeah. I would also consider Pacheco at first TD at +600.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't like betting first touchdown. I've only hit one in my life.
They're fun, though.
They are. The other fun one, if you really want, is why I did this in the Super Bowl. Both teams to complete their first passing attempt.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But no. Friday night.
Baltimore, I think.
Yeah, we're both going Baltimore. Friday night, we have Brazilian football, where I know the Packers left today. The Packers have been quiet. Before we get into where the ceiling to floor, I simply think for all this complaining we've heard the Eagles doing, they just seem like they don't want to play this game. They have no business wanting to go to Brazil. They're hearing all this stuff. They're letting all this like stuff about like, don't wear a chain out in public. Don't have your phone visible. It's like, don't wear the color green. I haven't heard anything from Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to go down there and play a game of football and just take care of business and win this one.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is going to just outclass them to start the season. Eagles might figure it out right after that, but I do think the Packers are going to do what they do. Like that playoff game, they're just going to surprise everyone and be nasty.
Exactly. And also, too, I'm going to say under as well because international death taxes in when you have a game overseas, you take the under.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I could see the Packers balling out and the Eagles not scoring that much. Or I could. Exactly. Yeah, probably. I don't like football over-unders, really, honestly. I really like them in any sport besides baseball. Basketball, I hate it.
I do too.
It's too high of a number. And I
That's why
hate
hockey is the
I
best.
hate betting. I hate rooting for people to miss, especially in basketball.
Life's too short to bet the under.
Yeah,
I just know with international games, you take it. That's what it is because they're all.
probably. Yeah. It's probably most of the London games are trash. But these are two good teams. Usually they send crappy teams.
That's the thing I'm surprised about is that you're like, imagine this was a Friday night game in the Link in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
That'd be wild.
Are they
Green
the home
Bay,
team?
Philadelphia is a designated home team. Yes,
Huge, huge. One less home game for them.
yes. Sorry, my cat's like right at my feet right now. Just like I'm gonna come in here and pay attention. You always do this, don't you? Um, for the Eagles, I'm gonna say their ceiling is probably conference championship again. I just unless they'd have to get everything right. I think, in my opinion, to get past that.
Yeah, I agree.
And then floor, I'm gonna say losing the wild card round again.
I'm gonna say miss the playoffs, blown up, everything looks horrible. But
If
at 1%.
my only thing with that is that does Howie Roseman have proper job security, or is he just like gonna throw Sirianni under the bus and be like, "We'll do this over again"?
I'm pretty sure Howie Roseman's too good at his job to get fired. They draft well every year and they sign everyone. So I don't know how you could fire him. I'd love for him to get fired. That'd be amazing.
And I'm gonna say this too: Green Bay. I have the exact same as Philadelphia. I think it's conference championship, and I think it's losing the wild card round.
I'm gonna say second round, miss the playoffs.
I think miss the playoffs. They would have just to lose a couple games that you don't see them losing. But that's the beauty thing about the NFL season. There's going to be a couple teams that lose games that we just do not expect, and there's going to be a couple. There's going to be a good team no one sees coming.
Every team's going to beat a team they don't, maybe except the Panthers and the Patriots. It's like every team's going to beat a team that they shouldn't and lose to a team they shouldn't every year. And maybe on the top end, like even the Chiefs probably will lose one they shouldn't. There's no win they can't win, so that doesn't make sense. But
Chiefs are also not the best team against the spread as well, so when that comes into play as well, they kind of teeter. Like 2020, they were 14-2, but they went 7-9 against the spread.
Wow.
Tennessee at Chicago Sunday at 1:00. We get it started. Chicago should that minus 4.5 kind of scares me, but I think if I had to put a score on this one, I'm gonna say Chicago wins the game 20-13.
Damn, I was gonna say 28-13.
Ooh. I just think I can see it being low scoring because one side you have a really good defense, and the Bears are going to have a really good defense this entire year. It's just how far can the offense take them?
Going to get so much hype after this game because Tennessee's doo-doo.
They are, and that's where I'm going to have a take right now. But I was going to save it. I'll say it now. That Sunday night football game is going to tell us a lot about both teams. Chicago at Houston.
Oh yeah, that's a huge game.
Yeah,
it's a quarterback.
That, and then also when Houston plays Detroit in November on Sunday Night Football. Tennessee, look, ceiling is I don't know. You barely miss out on the playoffs, and their floor is 4 wins.
Their ceiling is getting a shittier draft pick, but still not even coming close to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Their floor is second pick, maybe.
Chicago, it's making the playoffs, and the other one is just what injuries happen, and you fire Matt Eberflus.
I'd say Chicago's is even a playoff win. They can do what the Giants did more 2 years ago.
Avenge everything from 2018.
Not what I had. Yeah, I know, right? I had Cairo Santos. Look out, he's going to be good.
That Aussie punter from Iowa, and they love to punt in Iowa.
They do. Who do I have the Bears playing? Oh, I have them as the last seed. So if they somehow get not the 49ers or the Lions, maybe they can win a game. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
But I think their floor just missing the playoffs. I really don't think they're going to be much worse than that.
I think it comes down to coaching more than anything.
Yeah, but they have such good players.
That's it though. It's this weird paradox where Pandora's box for them. We're going to open up on Sunday, and we're going to find out what exactly they are. But they're going to be a team that if they blow Tennessee out, everyone's going to say, this is the best team. This team's going to the Super Bowl. Bear down. Like Chicago Bear fans are going to be crazy. And also, too, the fact that they don't play divisional opponent until week 11 as well is another thing to note for this team.
That's insane. I think every team should be like that.
They should.
I hate playing the Cowboys fucking week 1, week 2. It's like we're not like we got no shot. The worst team usually has no shot right away.
Week 4, where Big Rat and I will be here because we have our Danny Dimes in primetime series. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Also, just quick note about that one. It just randomly started, and it's been a thing we've done since 2020.
No, I know. I see you guys tweets.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. Like the worst quarterback in prime time. We play like great teams and get blown out every game. It's terrible.
It literally started because we were podcasting because it was the Eagles game where he had the run, and then this will be one of my biggest
The one
regrets.
where he fell?
Yeah, the one where he fell. And we just noticed it. And we looked up, and then we did a week later when you guys were playing the Bucks.
Yeah, we had way too many primetime games. It sucked.
That Bucks game, though, I always said this. I was like, New York's going to cover. New York's going to cover, and I didn't bet it like a sucker. Pittsburgh at Atlanta. I'm going to go Atlanta.
Yeah, solid. The Chiefs game we had Daniel Dimes is awful. Bucks Atlanta?
Steelers Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Is it in Pittsburgh or is it in Atlanta?
No, it's in the ATL.
All right, so yeah, for Atlanta by a decent amount.
I'm gonna go 24-14.
Yeah, that works. 24-7, 21-7.
Yeah,
24-7, 24-7.
I know I didn't have them winning the division, but I think Atlanta's ceiling is winning the division and getting to the playoffs.
Well, yeah, playoff win at least, I think.
Yeah.
Their offense is dynamic as hell. Bijan is so good.
It's just will they use them right? That's the thing.
You have well, they got that idiot out of there. You said I forget you've already said their coach and I've forgotten his name.
Raheem Morris, but Arthur Smith revenge game as he's now in Pittsburgh.
As a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna fix fucking Kenny Pickett. Poor George Pickens and Deontay Johnson or whoever else they have. I don't even remember.
Deontay Johnson's now a Carolina Panther.
Yeah, well, poor him still. That still fits. Xavier Lee get.
Yeah. And then Pittsburgh, I think ceiling is getting to the playoffs again and being what they've been. And then floor is missing the playoffs and blowing it up.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is above 500. I think their ceiling because they're always above 500. But I really think their floor is like second. I really think the Panthers are going to be the worst team again and then the Patriots. So I would say their floor is third worst team in the NFL. So are the Titans.
Jacksonville at Miami. This is the first bet of my Sunday parlay. Miami -3.5. I'll tell you why.
Lock.
But here's the thing with it. Have you ever heard of the Kevin Harlan effect?
No.
Since Mike McDaniel has taken over as head coach of the Dolphins, they are 7-0 when Kevin Harlan is the play-by-play guy.
I can't believe you already. Well, I can. You would be the guy to do this. To know who the play-by-play guys are for what matchups already. Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is.
The only other ones I know off by heart is there's the more of them are later, but Philadelphia and Green Bay, it's Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge.
Oh, good for Noah.
Yeah.
Fucking Kevin Harlan. Who's undefeated?
Miami. Miami is 7-0 with Mike in the Mike McDaniel era.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. They probably had played 7 home games in like 105-degree weather.
Probably, and this one's in it's 2 Florida teams, but it's in Hard Rock Stadium.
This man is streaking on the field. He's at the 20. He's drunk. I love Kevin Harlan.
That's one of my favorite calls of all time with the Raptors too. So, he did the Kawhi shot. I'm gonna go 31-14 Miami.
Yeah, like Jacksonville 48-17. They're gonna fucking blow them out. Devon A-Chain 3 touchdowns. Mostert 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill 2 touchdowns.
And with Jacksonville,
Tony Khan's gonna be on the sideline crying.
With Jacksonville, I'm gonna go. Make the playoffs, win your division. I don't think they will, but I think it's a ceiling because the AFC South's unpredictable. Excuse me. And then worst case is just floors. They miss the playoffs and Doug Peterson gets fired.
Should have said this earlier, but Randy, write down all my predictions for scores and see if they come true, because I'll forget.
You can bet that, actually. You can bet scores.
Yeah, I already forgot what I said for all the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm sure everyone else did too.
Miami, it's win a playoff game.
To win a playoff game?
Yeah, because they haven't done it. The last time they won a playoff game, it was the year 2000.
They're so talented to me, though. I don't know. I feel like they lost so many people in the beginning of the offseason.
They did, but that's why I just think it's, you know what, if they are what they say they are, you're going to get in the playoffs, win a playoff game.
Their
Your worst
line
case scenario is that you don't win a playoff game.
they got Hunt, right? On the offensive line.
No, Robert Hunt went to Carolina.
Oh, he left.
Yes.
Oh, he was on. Yeah. Did they replace him?
Uh,
Now I can't. Did their line just get worse? I know their defense kind of got.
They lost Christian Wilkins. They brought in Christian Wilkins to Vegas. They brought in Chop Robinson. I know Nick Needham is now on the practice squad. Miami's then Miami's the same thing too. Like the defense, I think will be a little bit better because Vic Fangio was there last year, and a lot of players got on a bad rap with him. Like, so we'll see what happens. But I can't see them in the playoffs.
Still there, right?
Pardon me? Yeah, Jalen Ramsey's still there. They're gonna get a full year out of him too.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I have so much faith in the offense, so I think they're gonna win a lot of games, 48 to fucking 35 or whatever. But we'll see. I don't know.
The next game up is New England at Cincinnati. Where this is the other one that I know who's calling it. This is Ian Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn.
Oh,
You're probably gonna think I'm a little crazy for this, and I'm not going full blown crazy.
Patriots are the biggest lock. No, I'm kidding.
Bengals win, Patriots cover.
What's the spread?
8.5.
I mean, anything over a touchdown is hard to predict.
I just also think too that Cincinnati, like, look, the continuity's been kind of missing because of what they've gone through this offseason. Plus, Joe Burrow coming off a wrist injury.
Yeah, they're probably going to start a little slow, and the Patriots are going to.
They also play the Chiefs next week, so it's a bit of a look-ahead spot for them.
Yeah, the Chiefs are probably going to roll right away.
Plus 330 if you're really feeling frisky, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jamar doesn't need practice with Joe. They're pretty much in sync. So
it's also going to depend on how Christian Gonzalez looks as well, and that's the reason why I think they're going to cover because the Patriots
played all after his injury, right?
No, he didn't. He was out for the year last year, but he's back. The Patriots defense, I think, is good enough to the point where they're going to keep them in a lot of games, but the offense isn't good enough to where they're going to lose them some games. They're going to lose them a bunch of games.
Oh yeah. I mean, with Gonzalez, it's like cornerback is the hardest position to play probably.
Yep.
For a rookie. That or like tackle.
He did lock down Tyreek Hill last year, though.
For what? A game before he got hurt? Like
yeah, it was a game.
3-4 games?
Yeah, he basically played. He got hurt in the game against Dallas, but in his first few games, there was signs there where look.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's going to be great, but like it just takes a lot of time. Like he'll probably have great moments and like get burned a shit ton or like play wrong coverage or something. Like it'll just like it's too hard a position to be great as a rookie or second year player or third year player even.
Exactly.
Like offensive line and cornerbacks, it takes years. It's like, should we keep drafting these people, or like those are the people you should just spend money on once they actually develop? Just buy them.
Yeah, because the Patriots going into next offseason, they do have the most cap money in the NFL, which I'm going to say the score right now. I'm going to say 17-10. I think is the final score for this game. You know, Cincinnati does just enough to win, and then with New England, look. The ceiling's not really too high, but the ceiling right now is just this is going to be weird because it's going to be in reverse because I think their best case scenario is that they have a bad year. They're just like, look, it's the first year under Gerard Mayo. Bill Belichick's gone, first new head coach since 1999. They get a top 5 draft pick, and hell, if they want to move back in the draft or draft Will Campbell out of LSU, I'm fine with either option.
Yeah, and
their floor. They screw around and win more games than they should, and they worsen their draft pick position. Originally, I did want that. I did think this could have been a potential 6-11, 7-10 team, but if they go anywhere between 3, 4, 5, and 6, I'd love to see them go 5-12 just to see them hit their over total for wins. But this year is all about just seeing signs from when he eventually gets in with Drake May that hey, he can play, and that I don't want to David Carr him. That's the thing. I don't want him to be David Carr. The offensive line is not good. I think it's just going to be eventually where either Jacoby just does a few costly mistakes and just ruins it, or he gets hurt because of the offensive line. I hate dogging my own team, but it's what I got to do because
it's that bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just it's bad, but I know that
but he was good.
I know no one wants to hear me complain about this because we've been good for 20 years and I got to witness glory my whole life, but. I know, like, this year is all just about building blocks for 25, for 26, for 27. That's all I'm focused on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it just sucks you won't be able to get to see your quarterback right away. It's annoying.
No, but it's one of those things where you kind of
Only thing to
understand
look
the.
forward to.
I understand
I
the
know.
why. That's the thing. I
Yeah,
understand
I
why.
know. But it's just like as a fan, it's like at least if he was playing every game and you were getting blown out, it's like, well, everything he does matters.
Yes, I look at week. I do look at potentially week 5 or 6 for him to play because week 7 they go to London to play the Jags, and I don't think his first start should be overseas. Meanwhile, week 5 you're at home against the Dolphins or the Texans, which they announced today they'll be wearing they'll be wearing Patriot throwback red. So we'll see what happens there. But that's it for the Patriots. Look, if they just basically build towards the future, that's my best thing there. If Drake May can go show us like, hey, there's something there. If he can have a season like what Justin Herbert did in 2020, because if you remember the Chargers were god awful that year, I'll be good. Or like Josh Allen, where it's like, hey, he's not good yet, but there are the signs that he can be good. Meanwhile, with the Bengals, like we say, their ceiling is a Super Bowl. Their ceiling is a Super Bowl. Alex and I both picked them to win the Super Bowl, and the floor is, just like last year, it all goes wrong again. Injuries happen, and they miss out on the playoffs. But I don't think so. So I think their floor is probably losing in the wild card round.
Yeah, all right. So I have Bengals over the
Niners.
Pats 20. What?
You're going with the game first. My bad.
Yeah. Bengals over Pats 28-7. Mondre might run one in. Who knows?
Be good for
Uh,
fantasy.
I think the ceiling for the Patriot, I'll go with Bengals first. Ceiling for the Bengals is a Super Bowl win, obviously. We've already said that.
Yeah.
And then the floor is all right. If everyone gets hurt, obviously everyone's floor is like travesty.
Yeah.
So if everything's still healthy, the floor is still, I think, third place with making the playoffs. Like the Browns and the Ravens both having like insane seasons, and maybe the Bengals also having an insane season, but losing to both those teams a few times, and then they get one of the last playoff spots with a good record. But that's very unlikely. I think the more floor would be like second place in the division.
Exactly.
For the Patriots, the floor is the worst pick in the NFL draft. It's the worst team in the NFL draft and the worst record. It could be 0 wins. I doubt it. It'll probably be 2 or 3, 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 being the Panthers getting the 1 pick. I think their ceiling. Sorry, but I think it's 4th overall, which is great for your draft. Titans might be the only other team that I think could be in there. I think the Broncos will win more games. I think the Chargers will win more games. Who are the other shitty ass teams? Fucking Steelers will win more games. Giants, Commanders, Cardinals. Yeah. So second to 4th pick probably.
No Patriot fan's gonna be like scoff at that or think that you're crazy because
they're just not in reality.
There's no one in that though. That's the one thing I've noticed so far. There may be like a couple people on Twitter, but for the most part, like 98% of us know what to expect for 2024.
Yeah, I can't wait for 2 or 3 years in the future. And I'll be like, oh, I've seen my team lose 3 years in a row. All this suffering. Like, fuck you. You got like 28 more to go for every other.
That's it. No one feels bad for us. And look, if basically how I view them also is kind of like, I know I said LA, but it's what Chicago went through. Because if you remember 2 years ago, Chicago was terrible. And then last year, they started to show signs of like, hey, you can get together to where 2026 is that year where it's kind of that, hey, so if we are in 2 years where Chicago is now, I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, you can't complain for that.
Houston at Indianapolis, and call me crazy here, and this is the second part of my bet.
Mm-hmm.
Colts money line. Weird results always happen week 1.
Yeah, I'm going Texans, but I could see it.
My logic for this is just that, look, everyone's high on the Texans, and this is that loss to where they lose, and everyone's going to go, oh, but they're so bad, they're this and this and this. Meanwhile, I can see a world where then they host Chicago on that Sunday Night Football game, and we see CJ Stroud ball out against the Bears to where then everyone goes, well, look at the Bears, or we should be concerned for them. Like, how it's like coming off that pedestal of beating the Titans. So that's where I see it as well. But then I think it's just one of those, like, Houston this year for me, for as good as I think they'll be, I just think that people calling them a Super Bowl contender, I think is a bit far-fetched. I think that they need to they're going to have a few games this year, I think, where they're going to get not humbled, but they're going to have a few games this year. They're going to be those reality checks, those just straight up, like, games you should have won that you lost, but also, like I said, they play a lot of difficult opponents this year. You have to play the AFC East, you have to play Kansas City, you have to play Baltimore, you have to play the Dallas Cowboys, you have to play the AFC North, the NFC North too, excuse me. There's not a lot of games outside of their own division that you can look at besides probably the one against New England where you look at and go, those are easy games for them.
Yeah, I mean, I have the Texans winning this game, but I do think their floor is the division should be super easy. So I think their floor is still playoffs regardless. I think their floor and their ceiling are very close.
Their
I do.
ceiling
I
for
think
me
the
is
floor
division.
is still winning the division. I think they're winning the division regardless. I think their floor will be the division if everyone's healthy again.
Oh, I do
Obviously, if
too.
everyone gets hurt. So if their floor is the division, I guess their ceiling is making the championship game.
Mine is making it to the divisional round just because, like,
It's more realistic.
yeah, more realistic because especially if they have to play Cincinnati as well. And then my floor for them is, you know what, being a wild card team. I just think with a game like this, it's kind of that, like I said, reality check. That's why I have the Colts on the money line here. And also, too, just for an F around and find out, I'm going to take the Colts in survival as well, and we'll see where that goes because worst case scenario, I have another strike, and I can take an easy game next week.
You have a
Colts is
multi-strike survival league?
2 strike.
Nice.
Um,
Oh yeah, and what was I gonna say? Fuck, it just went out of
Indy
my
for
head.
me is make the playoffs, and floor is basically what you did last year, where you go like 9-8, and you're one of those like first few teams out.
Yeah, I mean, I said floor is winning the division for the Texans. I mean, winning the division and losing first round, obviously. Indy, I think their floor and ceiling actually are much closer to each other, like 6 wins to 7 wins to 8 wins, maybe. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs regardless. Anthony Richardson would have to be MVP or something, I think.
That, or like I said earlier, how if Jacksonville kind of does what they did last year again, or if that's why I'm kind of like not skeptical of the Colts, but kind of worried about them because, like, you know how last year, look, Jacksonville, like they had some games where they looked good, but then there was that game against San Francisco where they got killed.
Yeah, I feel like they had a lot of Jacksonville had enough talent to beat all the mediocre teams last year, and then not any of the good ones. And now a couple of those mediocre teams got better, and Jaguars kind of coming down.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, one of the best QB prospects I think of all time, and not based on me, but based on the hype he had. And look at him; he's an average quarterback. So, what do these drafts really mean?
Exactly. 2021's an oof Marone.
People scouting JJ McCarthy is going to be the next fucking guy. It's like, oh, what do you like? Of all the people, like, why him? Why would you think that? Makes no sense.
Before he got hurt, I was just kind of high on him because Kevin O'Connell, I have that same Sean Payton logic where, look, Kevin O'Connell got it done last year.
But I don't think he'll be fine on any team drafting him. Like, if he got drafted by the Giants or the Patriots, he'd be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
But if we put you on the fucking Vikings behind that line with those 2 receivers, I think you could get a touchdown.
Exactly. And also, too, once he returns TJ Hawkinson, which I know
do that, but that's pretty hard.
Yeah. Which, speaking of TJ Hawkinson and the Minnesota Vikings, they traveled to the Meadowlands where the Giants have a very nice logo for their 100th anniversary. Are they wearing those uniforms or are they just wearing the helmets in practice?
Yeah, they're really ugly uniforms that I've grown to love and think they're awesome. I mean,
they just need to bring back the 80s ones.
They invented
bring back the Lawrence Taylor uniforms. That's my
Well, they have those. They're still wearing those ones.
No, but they wear them full time. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, that'll never happen, but I wish. They haven't even brought back the actual red ones yet. But so they're 100th uniforms. So it's not like they made this. They're like, oh, we're gonna encompass all of the years and like come up with this cool new uniform. It's like this is what they wore back then. So like it is ugly. It's supposed to be ugly. Like that. Times change.
It's like the Bumblebee uniforms for the Steelers.
When I first saw it, I was like, what are those shit brown pants? But I kind of love them now.
Yeah, it's uniforms. I always wait until they're on the field before I judge.
When you see them in the media day doing the shit with the pictures and the jerseys, I was like, all right, I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah, like with there's only a handful of uniforms where like one's pretty obvious, the Pat Patriot ones, and then like the Kelly Green Eagles ones, which I know probably don't like me saying that, but
no, those are good.
So those are certain ones where it's like right away, it's like bam, that's it.
Yeah, but all the Steelers ones, the Packers ones, like they're usually ugly as shit. But it's like that's what they wore in fucking 1923.
The Bumblebee Steelers, the Acme Packers, all that stuff. With this game right here, I feel like this is one of the more intriguing games of the weekend, just because from either side, you don't really know what either team is. We feel like we know what their potentials are on both sides, but it's just a matter of which team will put the pieces together. This is the Daniel Jones versus Sam Darnold game. Um,
We do pretty well against Sam Darnold
yeah.
usually, but
Oh, also I'm
completely
gonna go
different
back. I got to go back to the other game quickly. I'm going to say Colts win 20-17. By the way, field goal, last second field goal. With this game right here,
Texans 28-21.
with this game right here, I want to lean Giants just because it's the home dog and we don't know what we're going to get out of Sam Darnold. But at the same time, too, I could see a world where the Vikings do win this football game.
Well, I could see any world where the Giants lose a football game. But
Yeah.
let's see. 2 years ago, this Vikings team had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, TJ Hawkinson at tight end, a healthy Justin Jefferson, a healthy Jordan Addison in a playoff game in Minnesota and lost to Daniel Jones, Darius Slayton, fucking
Hodgins.
Reggie James, Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James, excuse me. Said Reggie, I think. Yeah, and not Brian Burns. Kayvon was a rookie. An awful offensive line. No Malik Neighbors. Like, I just don't see it. If the Giants lose this game, they are going to have a horrible season.
Yeah, I
They have to go 2-0.
So I do, yeah, because you guys play. I know it's Washington. I don't know who you play week 3, and then I know you have that game against Dallas week 4 in
Yeah, it
prime
gets
time.
pretty tough after 2.
Yeah. This game right here, I think, is going to be one of those weird games where it's a little more exciting than people originally thought. You know, where it looks like on paper, because on paper it's not the most attractive game out there, but it's one of those games where towards the end of it, everyone's going to be like, "Well, you know what? That was pretty good." Like I can see a 27-24 like Giants win, something like that, you know, where they come out, they put the pieces together, and then it's like week 2, you're going into this battle where it's Daniel Jones taking on Jaden Daniels, and then I have no idea who the Vikings play next week. But I just think when it comes down to it, I know he's coming off the torn ACL, but Daniel Jones is the more proven quarterback, seeing he's won the playoff game, and with Sam Darnold, this is a make or break year for him. If he does not do good this year, he's a career backup for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I think he already is a career backup. I don't know.
Well, you know what I mean, though. If he has a decent year, some stupid team will pay him a lot of money.
Maybe, but I think just if somebody gets hurt, like it'll be like a bridge quarterback, I guess, QB1. But really, just like if our team was healthy, you wouldn't be quarterback 1.
Or like what Baker just went through with the Bucks.
I don't think he'll get there. I think Baker's way better. But anyway,
no, just the same opportunity. Just because, like we say, some GMs.
Maybe, yeah, but. Yeah, I think there's more hope though with Baker. You sign Darnold knowing that he's probably going to be your backup. I think.
Yeah,
but I think this game. I think the Giants are going to win. Without being as biased as possible, they just improved a lot more. So the Texans preseason game, Daniel Jones threw the dumbest pick 6 after he was about to get safetied. He threw another interception that wasn't a good throw. He didn't throw that many good tosses. He threw one toss that was not even a great pass to Slayton that got us on the 1-yard line, and then we ran it in. So after all that, he played bad against the Texans starters, and we were down 7 points. So I really the sky was falling on Twitter when he was throwing those interceptions, but we weren't getting it didn't lead to catastrophic results while both teams had starters in. So it wasn't. I don't think he's going to go out there and just throw interception after interception after interception, and we're going to get blown out. So our secondary is terrible. We just signed Adoree Jackson back, but our pass rush is excellent now. Dexter Lawrence is the best nose tackle in football, maybe outside of Chris Jones, maybe even with him. Brian Burns, obviously. Kayvon had a bad year last year in terms of pressure and hits, but he had a great year in terms of sack numbers. So take that what you want. I don't think he had a great year overall. But yeah, our linebackers are good, but our secondary is just trash. So if our pass rush is not getting there, even Sam Darnold will find those 2 receivers. But I think it's hard to predict a high-scoring game for the Giants because they don't score over 30 points ever. But this has to be the year. We say this every year, but we have Malik Neighbors now, the offensive line. Andrew Thomas got hurt in the first series last year. That's an upgrade. Get him back for a full year, hopefully. Left guard went from fucking some bum to John Runyon. I believe it was Bredesen. Center, John Michael Smith's second year. Hopefully he's better, but he's kind of hurt. And then we have Um, Van Roten, who's an upgrade from McKeithen and some other terrible players we've had, and then Evan Neal is finally out as right tackle. We have Illuminor, and Van Rotten played together and with our new offensive line coach. So everything on the offensive line should be an upgrade. If the rookie takes a step up, you get your all-pro left tackle healthy, and the three other guys got replaced and upgraded based on last year. So they should have time. Devin Singletary is a good enough runner. Malik Neighbors is going to get his yards. It's really on the secondary to keep this team not from falling apart.
Yeah, because with the defensive line, it truly is one of the upper echelon defensive lines in football, especially too if Kayvon really breaks and gets back to what he was as a rookie. Dexter Lawrence, like I said, I'm just gonna go Chris Jones still in the one, just because we know Chris Jones is like one of those franchise altering players, like Pro Football Hall of Fame lock, and that's not a knock on Dexter Lawrence. I think it's and I have Dexy in the two, and then Brian Burns is just like one of those things where it's a luxury, and you guys like look. Was Brian Burns necessarily a need? No, but the fact that you guys went out and got him for what you did, and the fact that you locked him up, shows that look, Shane wants to have a beefed up line. Micah McFadden is a linebacker that shines in moments, and I know he's good. I know the biggest complaint is for a while was that you finally have linebackers who can tackle, along with Bobby Oderike. And then the secondary, it's going to be interesting to see if Banks takes a second-year leap out of Maryland. It'll be interesting about that, and it's just really like, because it's one of those things where Jefferson's going to get his plays and his moments. It's just if you can contain him, or if that pass rush can be effective and get to Sam Darnold. That's the $1 million thing there. I'm going to go with a fun little score for this one. I'm going to say 19-16 win for the Giants. You know, it's a kicker's game, and I don't know who's kicking for the Vikings, but I know that Graham Gano is a reliable foot if he's still there.
Yeah, he is. I just to add, I do think Brian Burns was a need. You need pass rushers on. You need 3 pass rushers to probably win a Super Bowl. But like 2 or 3 edges at least, and then we
I need compared to offensive line. Like it was.
I know, which he did. He didn't get the big names that he wanted, but he did beef up both lines. So
yeah,
that was a must for this year. It's but I do think you need that edge to go across Kayvon, who we don't know if he'll be great yet or even good technically. But to go with Dexter to really ease up things for Kayvon, it should work really well. But yeah, Tay Banks is he'll be good eventually. It's like I said earlier with cornerbacks, it takes sometimes 4 years. You don't know. But he is playing against Malik Neighbors every day, so it should iron sharpen iron. And Micah McFadden it's hilarious that people know his name now. And I never thought no one thought
name to say.
Yeah, when he got drafted out of Indiana, I didn't think he would be that good. Nobody thought he'd be that good. But playing next to Okereke, who's our best linebacker maybe ever, is really helped. And he comes in on early downs, and Simmons comes in on third down, and it's pretty good.
And then when it comes to these two teams, I'm going to say for the Vikings, I'm going to go the ceiling is they're in the hunt, but they've missed out on playoffs, where it's kind of like they win some games they're not supposed to. One of the other two teams falters and they end up in third place. But besides that, I think it's just the Vikings are kind of accepting their fate this year, where the floor is just what we know, last place, stuff goes wrong and you go like 5-12, even though I still think they'll win 6 or 7 games. Giants, I think the ceiling is, having a 9-8 team, 10-7 team that sneaks into a wild card position. And then the floor is similar to what happened last year, but I trust that with getting rid of Wink, that there's less dysfunction in the building. And I think it would have to take a lot for them to clean house. I know the Maras are impatient, and there's that whole report about Bill Belichick wanting to go back and coach the Giants, but
I don't think that's true. And I also don't think that people think he's on the hot seat if we're not good, but the Maras committed to the long run. I think it made it. Hard Knocks definitely reassured that for me, but he's letting them do their job. I don't think they're safe 100% if everything goes wrong and they act like idiots and they look dumb. But
there's behind the scenes stuff that comes out.
Yeah, but with who they are, I just don't think that's happening, especially with Dable calling plays now.
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just
no. I know. I'm saying I don't. People think that's more realistic than I think. I think the game. I don't think I said the prediction. Giants are going to win 31. We're going to score over 30. Malik is going to go have a big game. 31-17. No, 31-24. 31-24 Giants. Giants ceiling is, like you said, a wild card team, maybe a playoff win again. I'm avoiding if the team gets hurt as saying my floor. So Daniel Jones is terrible. I don't even think as a floor Malik will be like, I can even say Malik will be not that good. I just don't see him not being at worst very good. So Daniel Jones is terrible. Our defense is atrocious. And we're letting up a shit ton. And we were terrible. Like we were beyond terrible last year and got the 6th pick. So I can't imagine it being worse than 5. So pick 5 is the floor, and wild card win is the ceiling.
New Orleans and Carolina. I'm going to keep this
one. Vikings. I think it's just out of the playoffs both ways.
Yeah. New Orleans, Carolina, I'm going to keep the short and sweet. I have the Saints winning this game. The Saints they play well. It's not going to be a pretty football game to watch. We all know what Carolina is, even though I do think Carolina's going to be a little more exciting this year, but I still think they still are a couple years away from truly being back in the picture. Plus, two, you don't know what the hell their owner's going to do. David Tepper's so unpredictable when it comes to letting the football that if you can just let Dan Morgan and Dave Canales run the show, they could be fine soon. But you don't know with Tepper. He just likes to get his hands in the water. Yeah. Meanwhile, with this, like I said, this game, it's just, I don't know, 14-10 Saints win.
I'm a big Dan Morgan fan because he's best friends with Joe Shane, and he gave us Brian Burns for like a second rounder. So I think he's doing a great job over there, especially after asking for 2 1s at first. I will say
that was their offer to the Rams. The Rams were willing to give 2 first-round picks.
No, they were, but did you in Hard Knocks? He's like, "You want to give 2 1s for Brian Burns?" He's like,
yes.
No. But
then I saw in the Bears Hard Knocks last night that Shane said to him, "It must be nice to Ryan Poles. It must be nice not to have a rookie, not be scouting a quarterback."
Yeah. Poor Daniel. Anyway, Saints win probably by a touchdown or 6 points. Saints ceiling is nothing. Their floor is not that bad. Panthers worst team in football to 4th worst team in football ceiling.
I'm gonna go Saints ceiling is like what Pittsburgh is. You know what, you're 9-8, or even maybe they sneak in as a wild card team. I don't see it happening though. And then their ceiling for me is just like it all goes scorched earth and Dennis Allen gets fired, which I know Saints fans want, but their ownership likes continuity. Panthers, I'm gonna go floor's worst team in football again. But my ceiling is going to be that, because I think Bryce Young is under a lot of pressure because of that Dave Tepper unpredictability. Where if Bryce Young doesn't even look like half of what Bryce Young even was at Alabama, like will they be tempted to make a quarterback change going into the next season? I don't know. So that's my ceiling for them is still 5 or 6 wins.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, it's going from maybe picking 1st or 2nd to picking 5th or 6th in Green Bay next year, as I forget which game's coming up next as the ticker rolls along. That's right. I forgot. We have one more 1:00 game. Arizona at Buffalo. This is the 3rd part to my parlay. Over 48.5 points. You have 2 defenses where, look, they're not that good. You have 2 offenses with gunslingers on them. What's a better combination than that, huh?
Yeah. Buffalo's going to win by a couple 10 points, 11 points, 12 points.
I think there's a chance Arizona covers that 6.5 point spread, just because last year Buffalo was a terrible team against the spread. But in reality, it's 1:00. It's Orchard Park. That building's going to be electric. That building's going to be buzzing. I'm going Buffalo is going to win this game 38-28.
I'll say 27-21. No, 27-17.
And then for Buffalo, my ceiling for them is get to the conference championship game. Some things lean your right way. And like I said, Josh Allen gets MVP or McDermott gets coach of the year. And then the ceiling and then the floor for them is probably wild card. I just don't see a world where they miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I think their floor is like what I have them at the last place playoff team, and their ceiling is getting to the conference championship, maybe, probably 2nd round though.
Yeah.
If they hadn't done it before, I don't see this being the year.
And now with Arizona, I'm going to go floor first, and the floor is you're the same team as last year, where it just doesn't look good.
Yep.
My ceiling for them is just missing the playoffs. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's always those unpredictable teams, and Arizona could be one of those teams if they find the right gears and that they click at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, Packers, Bears, whoever you don't have will be probably the first team out, and then it could be anyone, honestly. Bucks or Falcons if they don't make it, or Saints if you believe in them, like I have for some reason. I'm almost regretting that at this point. No, but yeah, Seahawks I think could be that team. I don't believe. I think the card ceiling was 6 wins, 7 wins, 6 wins.
On to 4 o'clock, shall we? Where the Chargers host the Raiders in the next announcer matchup that I know of, which is Jim Nantz and Tony Romo calling this game for some reason.
Week.
-3 is the spread. I'm going to go Chargers cover that number. These games usually are close, but here's the thing, too. I know it's 2 different regimes. You remember what happened the last time these 2 teams got together, right?
No, remind me.
It was 63-21 for the Raiders. Remember that Thursday night game where they just...
Oh, yeah. No, I remember. I just wanted you to say it.
Oh, okay.
I was going to pick the similar thing. I think the Raiders blow them out. I think the Chargers will not start hot. I think it'll be like a 44-17 game. No, probably not that high, but like 28-13.
I'm going to go Chargers just because I think at the end of the day, I don't know if that revenge factor is there, but like I said, I just don't buy into Vegas this year. But with that being said, these games they usually are close. I'm going to go 24-20 Chargers win.
Yeah. I'm the opposite of you. I believe the Raiders are better than they have been, and I think the Chargers are just going to be awful this year until I see them win some games.
Yeah, and then with me, I'm going to go. My ceiling for the Chargers is just being like best team out, like best team out on the block.
Yeah.
Like, hey, they win some games they're not supposed to. Things lean their way, and then like I said, and like you're saying, my floor for them is they're in 4th place again. Things just don't go right, and it kind of looks weird without a game. Raiders, I'm going to say my ceiling for them is they just miss like basically it's the exact same. It's the exact same. Floor is 4th place and a top 10 pick, and my ceiling for them is that they're in the hunt team, but they're out of it by like right before Christmas. They get eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, that division is so bad. I think their floor is last place and their ceiling. Both teams, their floor is last place and their ceiling is 2nd place.
Yeah. And then Seattle at Denver, and
the Raiders, honestly, no. I mean, I was gonna say maybe they make the playoffs because I do believe in them a little bit, but they're not gonna beat out the Browns, who I don't have making the playoffs, let alone the Bills. So, never mind.
And then Seattle at Denver. The one thing I know about this game, Seattle's wearing their throwback uniforms. I think there's a chance Denver keeps it close, but I think this is a game that Seattle just wins. The 12th man makes a big impact of a difference. And also when it comes down to it too, I think that the defense, that's why I have Mike McDonald as head coach, because I think the Seattle's defense is going to win them a lot more games than they should.
Are these the bright green throwbacks?
No, the blue ones, the Steve Largent.
They should have worn bright green to confuse Bo Nix, thinking he's throwing to Oregon. Yeah, Seahawks are going to win. I think it's too much for a rookie quarterback to go into and win week 1 of his NFL career.
Isn't that kind of funny, though, that an Oregon quarterback plays his first game in the NFL in his biggest rival's NFL's town?
Yeah. Pacific Northwest, man.
Shout out Edge is the best.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Who's Caleb's playing who?
Caleb's playing the Titans.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with Nashville.
Nope.
Jaden Daniels is playing
the Bucs.
They're not playing the Saints. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Also, fun fact too. Just actually, I'll wait till the end to say it. But and then Seahawks, I'm gonna go. They win a wild card game, and then their worst case scenario is that they miss out on the playoffs. Broncos, I'm gonna go. Best case scenario is you're a team that just misses out on the playoffs, and my worst case scenario is that it all crumbles and they finish in 4th place, and Sean Payton gets fired.
Yeah, Broncos floor is last place, not good. And then I guess 2nd place, because I said the other teams could win 2nd place, but I really don't think they're going to come higher than 3rd. The other team that we were talking about that goes by the name of
the Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks, thank you. I think they'll be one of the first teams out as their ceiling, and I think things can go horribly wrong when Geno Smith is your quarterback. So pretty bad is their floor.
And Sam Howell's the backup too. I'm gonna go 19-14 is the final score for this one. A little scoregami action for all the folks at home.
Yeah, 17-3.
Yeah.
Oh, they scheduled the ball.
It's nothing game. This is the game I'm going to have most eyeballs on for one reason only, because Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Cleveland versus Dallas.
Is this 4 or is this 8?
This is 4.
Okay. So I'm going to try to.
425.
Well, I'll have red zone on, but I really want to see Jaden Daniels play.
Yes. Jaden Daniels also plays at 425 as well.
Yeah.
But with this game here,
this is more about Tom Brady being an announcer.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him as an announcer, see what he does.
It's just weird. He's the part owner of the Raiders or whatever. If he does that, like he'll have less, like he won't be able to say or like have access before games. So it's like I think he'll be fine, but it's just like annoying.
Yeah. I'm going to go Cleveland with this game, though, because I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Cleveland started off as an underdog when the betting lines came out back in May when the schedule was released. But then all of a sudden, they're a favorite now. And I think this is the same thing, too, because if you look at Dallas' schedule, Dallas
lost 2 cornerbacks.
Dallas lost their cornerbacks. Yeah. Amari Cooper's great. They got Jesus Christ, that's the entire Alabama receiving core. They have Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. Leighton Vander Esch retired too. I think that's a note that not a lot of people are aware of with the Dallas Cowboys. But with this game too, I can see a world where Dallas basically loses this game and then they dog walk the Saints next week at home.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Cleveland 27-24 or 24-21 by 3. Cleveland by 3.
21-17 Cleveland wins. Dallas, my ceiling for them is you win a wild card game, or you win a wild card game. My ceiling for them is that they miss the playoffs and that Mike McCarthy is fired.
Your floor, you mean?
Yeah, my floor for them is that they miss the playoffs and Mike McCarthy's fired.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing.
And then Cleveland, it's you win a playoff game, it's the exact same. Win a wild card game, or you be one of the first teams out of the playoffs.
Yeah, probably. And then, at floor, I think regardless, they'll be pretty good. So just out of the playoffs floor.
Tampa Bay versus Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. I like Tampa Bay here. I know Jaden Daniels is in this game, but I just think that Tampa Bay is the better team at the end of the day. I have no idea who's
going to win this game. I'm probably going to pick Tampa because fuck Washington, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to play awesome. Fantasy-wise, at least. I think he's going to have a couple a rushing touchdown probably, but a lot of rushing yards.
I like that over under a 43.5. I think this is a game where the over is going to hit. That's going to be a little bit more exciting than anticipated. I'm going to go 24-21.
Yeah, the Bucs can score a lot of points on them too.
Yeah. I think it's enough to where the Buccaneers defense does enough to hold Jaden Daniels down and prevent him from doing anything. And then that's all I have to say about this game. Buccaneers, I'm going to go, you get to the divisional round. That's my ceiling for them, and my floor for them is they're a wild card.
I'm going to say floor is things go wrong, and they're like a 3rd or 4th place team.
I think they're a sneaky fire candidate if they miss the playoffs, though. That
It won't be a 4th place team, but 3rd place team.
Yeah. And then Washington, it's like the same thing as
3rd place.
Yeah, it's 3rd place is the ceiling, 4th place is the floor.
And who knows? 3rd place could get you a wild card, but I doubt it for either the Giants or the Commanders, but more for the Commanders.
Yeah,
I would doubt it.
And then this is the Sunday night football game.
Here we go.
Rams at Lions. This is going to be an interesting game because it's the first. It's weird. It's the last time these two teams played was in the playoffs, which for Detroit, this is their 3rd home game in a row with the NBC crew in town. Wow. Their wild card game, their divisional game, and week 1 all Sunday night football. There's a weird part of me that wants to go Rams here, but I think the Lions win this game. But the Lions win this one extremely close, kind of like last year's playoff game, like 28-27.
Yeah, the Lions are just too. I just don't think the Rams can stop them as many times as the Lions can stop the Rams.
Yeah,
so many good receivers, so many good players. 35-34. I don't even know if that's possible, but 35-34. Lions.
And then Rams, I'm going to go, their ceiling for me is Championship Sunday.
Yeah. Either team could get to a Super Bowl probably. Rams probably a little harder, but.
Yeah. That's why I don't want to say Super Bowl. I just want to say Championship Sunday. And then my floor for them is that they have a season like 22 where everyone gets hurt and Stenson Bennett or Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback and you miss the playoffs.
Yeah, agreed.
Detroit, its ceiling for them is Super Bowl. Floor is a divisional round playoff loss.
Yep.
Which feels weird to say, that the Lions, that's there, but that's the nature of the business.
They lost in the first round.
Out of all the games, though, for week one, there's one game that I just do not want to see the team.
The 1 seed.
Yeah, that's the
first round.
I think the Lions and the Niners, I think, will be the 1 seed in the NFC.
The Niners, but a lot of people love the Lions.
And then with the last game of the week, Monday Night Football, I'm going to say this right now. If the New York Jets win this game, you are going to see some just absurd takes being cooked up.
Oh, of course.
I'm looking at you, Mike Greenberg.
Last year with no Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, look where that got him.
Well, that being said, San Francisco's the better defense, even though New York has a very good defense.
In New York, right? Or is it in San
It's in San Fran.
I don't think the Jets have a chance. Actually, Aaron Rodgers loves San Fran, but no, I'm going to, like 34-17, 35-17.
I actually just got a
touchdown. That's about it.
I got an alert on my phone. The NFL writers just sent me a text message for this game. It's going to be like 14-14 at the half, and then the Niners just burst out in the second half and they win this game 35-14.
Yeah, I could see that as well. Yeah, 35-17. Like, give him a field goal.
Yeah.
Great line the kick.
Yeah. The one thing too with the Jets as well is their schedule starts off really difficult from a travel perspective because they play this game Monday night in Santa Clara.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to go to Tennessee next week to play the Titans. I know the Titans are bad, but still will travel. And then week 3, they play the Patriots at home on a short week on Thursday Night Football. Week 4, I think week 4 they play at home to the Broncos, and then week 5 they have to go to London to play the Vikings.
Yeah.
I have a crazy take. I think either week 2 or week 3 they lose. I think one of those 2 games they drop just because of just how travel is and all that stuff right there.
The Titans are who?
The Titans or the Patriots. I think the Jets lose one of those games.
I mean, divisional game, you never know.
Also too, because do you want to see me be a jackass to Danny? That's what would happen.
It would be pretty funny now that the Patriots have no shot at making the playoffs.
Also, the Patriots, I know that whole, the Jets finally beat the Patriots last
7, 8 games. Fucking, you already got your quarterback, so it doesn't really matter. But keep getting those not amazing picks, but good picks, and keep spoiling teams like the Jets and the Bills. Be fine.
I think they're gonna be they're gonna play spoiler in December, like when they play the Cardinals and the Colts, but then they finish their season with Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. That's literally the end of their season. Yeah, there's their first 6 games are incredibly difficult. I'm gonna say with the Jets, by the way, their ceiling is they make the playoffs. I don't want to say they're gonna win a playoff game because last time they were in the playoffs and won a playoff game, I was in the 12th grade and you were in the 11th grade. And we're both 30 now. And with their floor, it's missed the playoffs and all goes wrong, and Robert Saleh's out of a job.
Yeah, Flores Jets beat Jets, but I do think the ceiling is a conference championship game.
And then Niners floor ceiling is a Super Bowl win, and their floor it would be a upset in the divisional round. Yes. Or actually, no. Conference championship loss.
Yeah. Either or is not that.
Yeah. No, the only thing I was gonna say with the Pats is their first 6 weeks are not fun at all. They literally have the Bengals, the Seahawks, Bengals, Seahawks, Jets, 49ers. Those are all 4 incredibly difficult defenses to play.
Yeah.
Dolphins, Texans. That's their first 6 games. So that's where.
Hey, at least it's a year you're not supposed to be good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like if this was like last year where it's like there's like those expectations to be there and then they came out of the gate stumbling like they did last year, it would be worse. But the fact this year too, I don't think they'll be 0-6 out of that stretch. I think 1-5 or 2-4.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go 0-6.
Yeah, because that's the thing too with the NFL where I've seen videos everyone's like, oh, this team's going to go 0-17. I think it's harder for a team to go 0-17 than it is to go 17-0.
Yeah, they're both insanely hard. It's football. Like everyone wins once. So, like there's a reason it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened more than like once in forever.
It's the reason why Any Given Sunday is a 3-word acronym that NFL fans love to use because on any given Sunday, any team has a chance to win a game.
Yeah, but back
even though they probably won't, it's still the same thing,
Yeah, back to the 49ers, I'll say their floor is a Super Bowl loss and their ceiling's a Super Bowl win. It should be, at least.
I only say the conference championship thing because you just
Yeah, no,
look what happened last year.
That's the more realistic, like, actual answer. But like for them at this point, it should be like we're getting to the Super Bowl. Like we have to again.
There's only a handful of teams where I still think it's just them. It's pretty much them, and I would say Kansas City, where not getting the Super Bowl is considered a failed season. I know Detroit. I said Super Bowl is like their ceiling, but I think if Detroit once again loses in the conference championship game, the fan base isn't going to be up in arms.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
I think going into next season, it's going into next season though, it is a little difficult because of look, now it's like, hey, get to the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, year 3.
Yeah.
Is when, it starts happening. But yeah, Bengals, I think, are up there. I think they need to do it before things fall apart.
Yeah. One player for the Bengals to watch out for is Mike Gesicki, because this is the first true quarterback he's gotten to play for. Like, if you look at his track record, he had Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tua, and Mac.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow will make anyone better, so I believe it.
Joe Cody Rhodes Burrow, go out there and finish your story with the blonde hair.
Yes, sir.
Folks, get ready. NFL football is back. Alex and I got you covered with every single thing. There's only one episode this week, but there are 3 episodes coming this week. There's 2 NFL and a CFL episode all packed in there because Canadian football is still going on. But anyway, guys, for Alex Lorenzo, I'm Griff. Enjoy week 1 of the NFL season because it's back and we love it. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, Randy. Bye, Big Rat. Bye, Danny. Bye, Jared.